Hi guys, I'm Nicola McKenzie, founder and mortgage advisor at Dunham McCarthy Mortgages. And in today's video, I want to talk to you about why it's best to avoid mortgage advice and other in-house services from your estate agent or builder of where you're buying your property from. So stay tuned to hear more. So guys, before we get into the detail of today's video, we here at Dunham McCarthy specialise in property, mortgages and insurance. So we give advice on all of the above. We deal with lots of banks and building societies to compare all of your options and find you the most competitive deal for your circumstances, but also help to guide you through the house buying process. So make sure that you head over to our website, which is dm.mortgage, and book in for a free of charge appointment today. But let's get on with the video. Now guys, the role of an estate agent on the face of it is of course to market and sell properties, okay? However, you need to understand that an estate agent's role is to represent the seller of the property, not you as the buyer. So where does their fee come from? You're not paying for the service. It's the seller of the property that in many cases has paid thousands of pounds for that agent to market and sell their home. So therefore, it's the estate agent's job to have the seller's best interests at heart. That's who's paying them, and it's their job to achieve the best possible price for that property on behalf of the seller. So it might seem when you're house hunting like it's the easier, convenient option to go through an estate agent for all of the services that you need. And some agents might even trick you into thinking that you'll get preferential treatment. It's simply not the case. And also as well, I'm not really just talking about estate agents throughout this video. The same principles apply in many cases to new build properties where you're purchasing from a builder. Now, I'm going to give you a few reasons, like I said, why it's not a great idea to go through an estate agent for their in-house services. And if you are stuck on where to go to get advice, then of course you can head over to our website and book in for a free of charge appointment, because here at Dunham McCarthy Mortgages, we are impartial, we're not affiliated with anyone, so we have your best interests at heart. So the first thing to talk about is that estate agents' in-house services are not going to put you in a better position. So estate agents and builders commonly use pressure tactics on people to use their in-house services, in the main because it's an additional income stream for them. Now, in some cases, they might tell you that you stand a better position by using those services, or in order to buy the property, you have to use those services, or even to view the property, you must use their services. And I will tell you now, it's utter rubbish. Don't fall for it. And it's also illegal. So you must understand, you know, there is a law actually written against this, and you should use it to your advantage if you're being pressured into anything by an estate agent. So the Estate Agents Act 1979 states that as an estate agent, you must not discriminate against potential buyers because they don't want or might refuse to take services from you or a connected person. Now, the Act also states that as an estate agent, you must give your client, so that would be the seller of the property, written details of all offers received from potential buyers. This information must be passed on promptly. It can be sent by hand, email, post or fax. Therefore, guys, based on this Act, if an estate agent's telling you to use their in-house mortgage advice in order to be vetted, or in order to make an offer on the property, or implying that you risk a house sale being delayed or denied, then you can use this information to your advantage and challenge an estate agent if they are telling you this. Don't be afraid to say that by law you must forward my offer. By law, agents must forward any offers that they receive right up until that seller and the buyer are exchanging contracts. Now, obviously you do need to be wary that the estate agent, whilst you do need to know these laws and where you stand, Equally, you do also need to make the estate agent feel confident and comfortable that you are the right person to purchase that property. But by forcing you to use in-house services is not the way to do that. By providing them with proof of deposit and an agreement in principle, that should be reasonable to satisfy an estate agent that you are in a position to buy that property and that you're a serious buyer. So don't fall for those pressure tactics. Estate agents know that it's not legal to do that, and it should make you question if they're happily engaging in those kind of practices. Then, you know, if you're buying a property from them and using their recommendations, what other regulations are they not adhering to? And by no means am I insinuating that every estate agent practices in this way, but this is feedback from clients that have come to me to tell me that they commonly get this from estate agents. That's why I put this video together. So the next reason not to use in-house estate agent mortgage advice is because it is a conflict of interest. Expanding on the point that I mentioned in the intro, an estate agent is paid by the seller to represent the seller and achieve the best price for them. Also, you have to remember that an estate agent does not make money until a house sale goes through. Therefore, they're doing everything that they can to sell that house at the highest price. And it's not uncommon practice amongst agents, even if it means that it may not be the best option for you to buy that particular property. If their main motivation is to push that house sale through, how impartial is the advice that you might be getting in relation to your mortgage? Now, again, how can it be impartial if an estate agent is supposed to be on your side and on the seller's side? That's impossible. It's similar to if you were going through a divorce, you wouldn't deal with the same solicitor as the person that you're divorcing. You would go to different solicitors because otherwise it would be considered a conflict of interest for the same party to represent both sides. So in summary, guys, your mortgage advisor, us, should work for you. Your estate agent works for the seller, and that's why it makes sense to keep both separate. So of course, get in touch. Now, I again want to just drill down and give you an actual example that I had from a client very, very recently. They were purchasing in this instance through a builder, and originally they had gone through that builder to get some mortgage advice. Now, what had happened is that the valuation from that building had come back significantly lower than the price that they had agreed to pay for that property. It was £50,000 lower. What they had been advised by the in-house advisor was that if we switch it to a different lender, we know that the valuation is going to come back higher. So my natural reaction was that why would a bank want to undervalue a property? They wouldn't do that for any other reason than that they have concerns that that property is overpriced. There is no benefit to a bank turning down business because a house is, in their opinion, worth less than what you agreed to pay. And that is just one example of questioning whose best interest was that advice in. Was it the person buying the property? No, I'd say not. Or was it in the best interest of the builder trying to sell that property? And that's just an example of what I mean about a conflict of interest. The next reason to avoid in-house mortgage advice from an estate agent is because often the products can be limited and or overpriced. So what do I mean by that? Now, often mortgage advisors and estate agents can be limited in the products that they offer, and they may only be offering from a narrow choice of banks and building societies. And the same goes for their in-house solicitor recommendations too. So this could mean that you end up with a more expensive mortgage product than you needed to, or that the lender you're applying to doesn't quite fit your circumstances as well as they could have. And in some instances, in-house services, they can also be tied. So for example, when you're going for a mortgage, you'll quite often look at life insurance, critical illness insurance options. And it might be that that particular mortgage advisor in an estate agent can only offer services from one provider. So that's of course naturally going to massively limit your options. Now, estate agents and in-house mortgage advisors that work in estate agents, they also commonly can do something called load their premiums. So a loaded premium basically means that, let's say that you are taking out life insurance with Legal and General, for example. A loaded premium means that the price that that agent gets from Legal and General is inflated by 10, 15%, maybe even more in some cases. And that's because that particular agent needs to again cover more costs, so they need to make higher margins from the transaction. Now, where we are concerned, we use the same price that Legal & General give to us as if you would get if you went to Legal & General direct, and that would be considered an unloaded premium. So that is certainly a big part of things that you need to be mindful of. Now, another reason I'm going to talk about is that when you go and use estate agents' in-house services, it means that your confidentiality is compromised. Now, when you're buying a house, it's important not to give too much away, particularly to the agent in some circumstances. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should be dishonest for a second here, guys. Please understand what I'm saying. There are things that you will want to reveal to an estate agent, but not necessarily everything, particularly in the negotiation process. So remember, the estate agent is working for the seller and is there to put the seller's best interests first. Now, if you sat down with their in-house mortgage advisor and you've gone through a full financial assessment with them, they know exactly what you can and cannot afford. So if you're trying to negotiate and you're well within your affordability and they know that you can go higher, they can use that information to their advantage and they can encourage the seller to push for a higher offer. Once the agent knows what you're able to pay rather than what you're willing to pay, your negotiation position is compromised. And as well, the estate agent just does not need to know every bit of detail about your finances, because it can hinder you if you tell them absolutely everything. You need to give them enough information so that they know you're a serious buyer, but you don't need to be revealing absolutely everything necessarily. Now, your confidentiality being compromised works in the same way if you are using their in-house solicitors. Let's imagine that you're a home mover and you are selling your property, and in order to make this transaction happen, that has to go through. If the person buying your property pulls out of the sale, for example, you might not want to tell the agent straight away, because it might be that there's another buyer lined up quite quickly to take their place. But if you're using their solicitor, it's inevitable that they will find out that information. So again, it's really just about knowing what you should and shouldn't be revealing to make sure that your sale goes through as efficiently as possible and without creating too much concern and, like I say, compromising confidentiality to the estate agents. So guys, by no means am I suggesting throughout this video, I'm going to put in another disclaimer here, that all estate agents go by these practices. But over the years, many years of helping clients to arrange mortgages, I've heard too many instances of where people have fallen victim to a lot of the points that I've raised throughout this video. And that is why I thought it would be very, very useful to put it together to help potential buyers know exactly what the pitfalls are of using an estate agent's in-house services. So I hope it's been useful. If it has, like I mentioned to you, as mortgage advisors and brokers and insurance specialists, we are impartial. We have your best interests at heart. We're not estate agents. We're not representing a seller of the property. So if you want impartial advice, then head over to our website, dm.mortgage, and book in for a free of charge appointment. And like I said, we would guide you through the house buying process and give you advice on how to handle the estate agent process, how to negotiate, and also help you to get the best mortgage deals.